Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and it's a lot to discuss today. Most notably, Dustin Hopkins was cut for kicker Chris Blewitt, most notably from Pitt, from his college days. Hasn't done much in the NFL at all. I want to take a look at Chris Blewitt's background and what we should expect from him. Also, Rivera speaks on the Chris Blewitt and Dustin Hopkins situation, and on top of that, says that Landon Collins is, quote, a downhill linebacker, unquote. We're definitely going to dive into that. And then also, there's a huge team injury update. A lot of guys did not practice today on Wednesday. Now, granted, we'll see what happens Thursday and Friday as far as the injury reports go. But as of right now, as of Wednesday, not looking too great. And before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. Be on the lookout for all of the content, infinite updates all throughout the week. Like I said, they come out with injury report updates Thursday and Friday, so I'll update y'all on those as we lead up into the Packers game. And of course, be on the lookout for my game preview against the Packers, where I give y'all the 5 important matchups, the 3 biggest X factors, and my score prediction. That will come out tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that. Without further ado, let's get it. All right, so first of all, we have to start with the biggest announcement. The Washington football team has cut Dustin Hopkins. He's been released. And then we promoted kicker Chris Blewitt from the practice squad to the 53-man roster because he was already on the practice squad a few weeks ago. Then we cut him, and then we brought him back to the practice squad a couple of days ago, and then now he's been elevated to the 53-man roster. And of course, it's interesting because when you look at the stats just flat out, Dustin Hopkins was 12 of 14 on field goals and 10 of 12 on extra points. So you can definitely expect him to get another job just based off of that. But you got to dive deeper into the situation as to why Dustin Hopkins was released today. First of all, he missed that 42-yarder on Sunday against the Chiefs. And then the other kick he missed was a 50-plus yarder. But when you really look at it, I mean, he's been super shaky on a lot of attempts. I mean, technically, he missed the one against the Giants, and then that offsides penalty, whether you say if it was real or not, if it was a made-up penalty for no reason. Either way, he missed the first easy one, and then he made the easier one. And then when we were playing the Falcons, we were put in such terrible situations because of the extra points he was missing. It completely changed the whole flow of the game. We ended up winning, just like the Giants game. We ended up winning. But that Chiefs game, I mean, you could just see how dejected everybody was after he missed that kick. I mean, we felt like we had the momentum. We felt like we really had a chance to win. After he missed that kick, you just saw the soul sucked out of the team. And again, like I've already said in my video yesterday, I'm not going to blame all of that on Dustin Hopkins. At the end of the day, all of these guys are grown men. They're NFL players. They get paid millions of dollars. So whether Dustin Hopkins makes a kick or misses a kick, you need to be going out there playing the hardest you can. You need to be out there giving it your all. It doesn't matter what Dustin Hopkins does. You need to be going out there and giving it 110% no matter what. Just because he missed a kick does not mean y'all have the right to act like the team is destined to lose now. But still, man, I mean, not being able to believe in your kicker is huge. Ask players. It does kind of add a, what's the point of even trying this hard if he's not going to at least be able to make this 42-yarder? And then on top of that, even just beyond what he did on the field, he was struggling quite a bit in training camp during the preseason, and then so this product he's put on the field this year so far, again, if you're not just looking at base stats, has been very shaky, and it was just about time to move on. Again, it's not like Dustin Hopkins is terrible, it's just that he's unreliable. Like I've been saying, it feels like we have a college team where if we're on the opponent's side of the football field, if we're past the 50 and we're not in the red zone, I'm afraid to kick it. A high 30-something yarder, anything in the 40s. I mean, at that point, I feel like we might as well just go for it on 4th down or get Tressway to pin the other team deep. But Dustin Hopkins is just not reliable enough for us to line up for a 45-yarder and for me to even kind of believe it's going to go in. I'm nervous every time. You shouldn't be nervous about your kicker. Now, the question is, will we get better with Blewitt? Who knows? This could very likely end up getting worse. I mean, it's more likely for it to get worse than for it to get better. but at least they're taking the chance because we know what we have with Dustin Hopkins is unreliable. That's the key word. Again, it's not like he's terrible. He's just unreliable. You shouldn't be nervous when your kicker goes out there to go kick. And then Rivera even spoke on it. He said that he felt the move to cut Dustin Hopkins was his decision and his decision alone. And he felt like this was the time to do it. The time was right. Maybe the breaking point on this season where we turn things around. And he literally said, quote, "This is my move, my decision, I'll live with it," unquote. So if Chris Blewitt comes out here and is bad, and if Dustin Hopkins goes to another team and just suddenly finds his inner Steven Gostkowski somehow, Ron Rivera has already put his name on the line and said that it's all on him. And also something you got to think about before we dive into Chris Blewitt and how good is he, what's his history, what's his background story and all of that. Dustin Hopkins was not only our field goal kicker, he was our kicker on kickoffs. So like if Chris Blewitt comes out here and instead of the ball going into the back of the end zone for touchbacks, if the ball starts landing like within the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line, and teams start returning more kicks more often and getting better field positioning, that's gonna look ugly on Rivera as well. Again, it's more likely to get worse than it is to get better, but I'm glad that Rivera is at least taking a chance because honestly, what do we have to lose at this point? Just like the logic for why we might as well start Jeremy Reeves over Bobby McCain. Even before John Boston got hurt, why we should have just been playing Jamin Davis a lot more anyway. How much worse can it get? Can we at least see what these other guys can do? Bring in guys from other teams. Bring in free agents. At this point, we might as well at least see what we can find. Taylor Heineke came out of nowhere last year. What if you can find the equivalent of that at a different position? And as of right now, most notably kicker. Now, as far as Chris Blewitt, Rivera said, quote, "We brought Chris out before. He did the same thing he did in his workout before. I think he only missed one field goal. He kicked one yesterday into the wind that had a 4.5 second hang time and was about 70 yards deep," unquote. So Chris Blewitt is out here looking like a practice warrior. He's making 70 yarders like it's nothing in practice, but can he do it in game? Because the problem is with Chris Blewitt, like the biggest worry is that he doesn't have much experience. He hasn't kicked in a real game, like an actual game since December 2016 when Pitt lost to Northwestern in the Pinstripe Bowl. He's kicked in preseason NFL games, but he's never kicked in a regular season NFL game yet. The last time he's really had pressure on him to make a kick was 2016 when he played in college for Pitt. And Rivera even addressed that as well. When asked about Chris Blewitt's lack of experience, Rivera said, quote, "There's not a lot of guys out there with experience right now," unquote. And this is what I addressed yesterday. This is what I addressed a few weeks ago when we first signed Chris Blewitt. And first of all, I really hope his name doesn't become a sentence. Man, Chris Blewitt has to be the worst kicker last name of all time. I hope he doesn't live up to his last name for sure. But like I said yesterday, like I said a few weeks ago, even though I wanted us to cut Dustin Hopkins, you kind of have to look around and be like, who's out there? Chris Blewitt has potential. He's out here making 70 yarders in practice like it's nothing, but he has no experience. Then you have some guys with a little bit of experience, but they suck. So, I mean, really, that's why Dustin Hopkins hung around so long, because it's like, who do you replace him with? So now we're going with the guy, again, that hasn't kicked a meaningful kick in any game, in any capacity, other than preseason, since 2016 in college. Chris Blewitt made nearly 70% of his field goals back at Pitt, and his career long was a 56-yarder against Georgia Tech back in 2015. He also kicked that 48-yard game winner against the number 2 ranked Clemson November 12, 2016. So he appears to have somewhat of a clutch gene to him, hopefully. And then overall, from 2013 to 2016 with his time at Pitt, he was a 69.6% field goal kicker, 55 out of 79. He was 1 of 1 with anything below 20 yards. 20 to 29, he was 16 of 19. 30 to 39, he was 14 of 19. 40 to 49, he was 20 of 32. And then he was 4 of 8, 50% from 50-plus yard field goals. And then he was a 97.1 PAT kicker, 198 out of 204. And it's crazy, too, because Chris Blewitt is the all-time leader in scoring, field goals, and PATs made at Pitt. He set records for him. Hopefully he can come in here and just be decent. But it's really interesting too because his background is crazy. I mean, since he stopped playing for Pitt and with his times on different preseason squads, on our practice squad a couple of weeks ago, he's worked at UPS, Anytime Fitness, and Home Depot ever since he's been out of college. He was a personal trainer in the morning, and then at night, in the evening, he was at UPS hauling boxes. But ultimately, I think Rivera made this move to show the team that, like, hey, man, if you're not performing, you gotta go. I wonder how serious he's going to take that because we're going to talk about Landon Collins soon because it's like Landon Collins is one of those guys that's making a lot of money. Is Rivera willing to bench him willing to release him, even though he's making that much money. So this is like an easier message to the team. It's not like we're cutting Landon Collins. It's not like we're cutting Bobby McCain. This is a slightly easier message to send to the team that if you're not producing results, you gotta go. Because this doesn't necessarily spark a fuse in the offense or defense, because Dustin Hopkins doesn't play offense or defense, but maybe this gets a message across to the team. But this is really weird too, because like, I don't know what's going on with this whole practice squad and active roster thing, because we picked them up on practice squad a few weeks ago, then cut them, and then now we just brought them back to the practice squad and then elevated them to the 53-man roster. And then Kelvin Harmon got cut from the 53-man roster, brought back to the practice squad a few weeks ago, then was cut Tuesday, and now we brought him back again today. So I don't know what's going on with the personnel moves. I know Kelvin Harmon is looking around like, do y'all want me or not? Like, what's going on? But I'm pretty sure he's happy to get any opportunity he can to show what he can do, and prefers to be on the roster than to not be on the roster, even if it is the practice squad. Now moving to Landon Collins. Rivera said that he has had conversations with Landon Collins in which he's told him that he believes that he is a downhill linebacker. And Rivera even addressed the fact that Landon Collins has basically played almost exclusively in the box over these last 2 games, especially compared to what he's done in previous seasons. And basically Rivera said that yes, he still has coverage issues, but he's played very well against the run, and even took a couple of things away, including a screen in these last 2 games. And Rivera basically said if you're gonna play Landon Collins, he's much better in the box. And man, a lot of us been screaming this for forever, man. It's been years that us as fans, I'm not taking credit for it, because again, so many of us have said it. It just seems so obvious. I don't think anybody could take credit for it. This is just something that should have been happened. But Landon Collins is better if you look at him as a linebacker than a strong safety that's going to be deep in coverage. I mean, the way he got burnt against the Saints for their first touchdown, second defensive possession of the game, like it's just not okay. The way he looked lost against D-Hop last year in the regular season when we played the Cardinals. I mean, there's just so many notable examples of when Landon Collins in coverage just doesn't work. Like whenever he was in coverage against the Chiefs, he was getting picked on. And I like the fact that not only did Rivera say that in a press conference open to everybody, but he's also said that he's had private discussions with Landon Collins on him possibly moving to linebacker like full time. Like your description when you look on the roster, when you look on the depth chart, says linebacker and not safety anymore. Especially, I mean, Rivera just said a couple of days ago he wants Cameron Curl to get more playing time and wants to put him in as many situations as possible because he's just such a great football player. All you want to do is just have him on the field and you'll figure it out later. So Landon Collins' move to linebacker just makes so much sense. But now it's really funny to me that basically Rivera just went up to Landon Collins and said, hey man, you can't cover, just play linebacker, big bruh. Basically walked up to him and was like, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. All of this money you making, don't let it get to your head. You need to move to linebacker. Be great at it. And it's crazy too, because Landon Collins being asked by the media, being asked by fans on Instagram, he's been getting upset about the question about moving to linebacker. He keeps saying that he's a safety. He's going to stay at safety no matter what. I mean, it was even that weird, awkward disagreement where a media member sometime during the offseason asked him about his move to linebacker and basically said, I'm not doing it. Kind of like a subliminal thrown to Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. But then on the other hand, Jack Del Rio has also said that he was a starting strong safety in the offseason. And so it seems like Jack Del Rio and Landon Collins may feel like Landon Collins can at least keep trying to play safety. Rivera's fed up with it. He's like, you're a linebacker, bro. And maybe now that they're slowly acclimating him to playing more linebacker, especially percentage-wise for snaps, like he's just playing a little bit more linebacker game by game. Literally this past week against the Chiefs was the most linebacker he's played probably ever in his career. And so maybe it's just a slow process to slowly trick him into playing linebacker without telling him he's playing linebacker. You know, he just looks up and notices at the end of the game, man, I really didn't cover too many people. I was kind of involved in the run game a lot. You know what I'm saying? Hey, do what you got to do, Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. Move him to linebacker. Even if you don't tell him he's a linebacker, keep calling plays to where he's basically playing like a linebacker. And I'm not exactly sure what Collins' infatuation with being a safety is. Maybe it's the money behind it. I don't know. Maybe it's because he doesn't want to take as many hits in the box and he wants to have a longer career. He wants more longevity and health, wants to avoid injuries with getting banged up and things like that. But bruh, like for real, bruh, you are a better linebacker than you are a safety. It's just plain and simple, obvious to everybody. Whoever is a close friend of this guy, man, please talk to him, bro. Maybe he won't listen to us. He won't listen to Rivera, Jack Del Rio. But somebody he trusts got to tell him, big bruh, you are a linebacker through and through. But this is an interesting day. Ron Rivera calls Landon Collins to his face a downhill linebacker and cuts Dustin Hopkins, the guy that he's been taking up for all season. Every time the fans are like, bro, we got to get rid of Dustin Hopkins, media member ask him about it in press conferences, and he's like, I have faith in him. I'm going to trust him. We're going to keep going with Dustin Hopkins. Ron Rivera's out here doing what he has to do. He's finally putting on his head coaching hat and making moves that are necessary. Again, the Dustin Hopkins move may end up not working out, but I'm just glad to see him doing something instead of sitting idle and just watching things fall apart like they've been doing this season. At least he's showing he has some heart in him. Like, things aren't working. Maybe this is not the best decision. Maybe this doesn't make us better, but I prefer something different than what I've been seeing these past 6 weeks. And I appreciate that. At least he's doing what a head coach should do. Is he doing it well? We'll see. But at least there's movement, there's action, and not just sitting here like, well, we're 2-4. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing. They got us 2-4. And again, at the end of the day, if you can release Dustin Hopkins, I know Landon Collins is out here making a lot of money. And even if you don't release him, you got to try to rotate some other guys in there. Because last season, we didn't have all of these communication problems when it was Jeremy Reeves and Cameron Curl rather than Landon Collins and Bobby McCain. We didn't have all of these random, just deep passes thrown over our head all game. Our defensive line actually had enough time to get to quarterbacks because our secondary could actually cover for more than 3 seconds. And if anything, Benjamin St-Juste being added was a bonus to our cornerback group. So it's just no reason that our secondary is getting cooked like this. So Rivera, if you're willing to shake things up and get rid of the kicker that's been here since before you got here, I'm gonna need you to take a look at some of these other guys, most notably Landon Collins and Bobby McCain. Maybe this is the first step of many. If we continue to look bad against the Packers and these other crazy teams we play on this schedule, especially coming up very soon, maybe he makes bigger changes. Maybe this is just the first step to show the team like, hey, you're not producing, you gotta go. Some of y'all may be next, keep playing. But yeah, man, we got that boy Chris Blewitt from Pitt. Who knows, maybe we go get the quarterback from Pitt, my boy Kenny Pickett. Y'all already know how I am, bro. I've been Malik Willis, Matt Corral, and Carson Strong, definitely over Spencer Rattler and Sam Howell since before the season even started. I'm glad a lot of people are finally seeing the light, and I was a little late to Kenny Pickett. I started noticing him just like a few weeks ago, maybe like 4 weeks ago, but he's been balling. You never know, man. Kenny Pickett in like the second or third round, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know me, I'm Matt Corral, Malik Willis overall, but you know, Kenny Pickett's looking like a little something. We just picked up Pitt's best kicker in their college history. Are we about to pick up one of their best quarterbacks in their college history? And now the big time injury update. I wanted to save this for last because it's ugly. I didn't want to start the video off with this, but I gotta report what I gotta report. We're just gonna start off with who didn't participate in practice at all today. Samuel Cosmi with an ankle injury, Antonio Gibson with a shin injury, Charles Leno non-injury, so he just took a day off, Terry McLaurin with a hamstring, Curtis Samuel with his groin, Brandon Sherrill with his knee, who we're not really expecting until maybe after the bye week anyway, Ricky Seals-Jones with a quad, Cam Sims with a hamstring, and then limited, Jonathan Allen with his knee injury, De'Ami Brown with his knee injury, and William Jackson also with a knee injury. So it's looking a little ugly right now. Luckily for us, nobody got like more injured in the Chiefs game. Maybe Antonio Gibson and maybe a little bit of William Jackson. But other than that, everybody that had prior injuries, if anything, are only getting healthier. And nobody else gained an extra injury. Other than, again, Antonio Gibson, he looked like he was hurt in that game. And William Jackson with this sudden knee injury, but it's nothing serious. And then also Rivera addressed in his press conference today that when Logan Thomas comes back, they're definitely about to use a lot of 12 personnel, which is what Scott Turner's been wanting to run all of the time anyway. But now that Ricky Seals-Jones is finally starting to emerge, Rivera is confident that we could throw Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones out there on the field at the same time. And I'm excited to see what that's going to look like because, again, Scott Turner has been wanting to run 12 personnel since he's gotten here. Remember, Jay Gruden, one of his biggest gripes with the way his roster was constructed the few years that he was here was that he didn't have 2 dual threat tight ends that he can run 12 personnel with because he wanted to run it as well. It's clearly an advantageous personnel to throw out there on the field. It makes your offense very hard to read. Are you going to throw? Are you going to run? You don't know. And you have 2 tight ends that can do both. It makes it very difficult for a defense to read what you're going to do. And it keeps them on their toes, which allows your offense to attack in any way that they want to. You have the tight ends that can block. Now you can run the ball either side and you'll be fine. Or if you want to throw the ball, you have 2 competent receivers out there as well in your tight end. So I'm excited to see what that looks like once Logan Thomas comes back. Again, just like Brandon Sheriff, I'm not sure if he comes back before the bye week, but we'll see. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Also, big shouts out to everybody that supports the channel. A special shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel, man. Really appreciate y'all. And a super special shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose names you see scrolled on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate all of y'all for real. Catch y'all later. I'm out.